Well, we're finally back, ladies and gentlemen. I have tried time and time again to get Saturday Morning Fever right back here on YouTube, trying out different formats and different layouts, and I'm still doing that. But I'm excited that we're back. Today's episode is off of one of my favorite animes by the name of Medabots. It's definitely in that kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, sports, anime protagonist kind of, very 90s, very 90s kind of thing. But it's one that I absolutely love. And I really hope you guys enjoy the new Saturday Morning Fever. If you want to check out more of it, be sure to subscribe below and give us your feedback. Let us know what you think of the show. Another quick heads up is that since Medabots doesn't have an open soundtrack I could use to back the video on YouTube, I ended up using the soundtrack to Sonic Adventure 2 Battle because I love that game. So that's what I decided to go with. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is Saturday Morning Fever.
From now on, like your parents were, you are the secret board of hallucinations.
They're moving real fast, they're the only one who can get there on time. They're never too far behind, they're always fighting crime. Undercover, facing adventure in the danger zone. Pretty soon they'll be off on a mission. Come and watch them go. Sun doesn't shine. What's the highest and show? Sun doesn't shine. Only that on the road. Sun doesn't shine. To sit back and watch them go.
In the world of Medabots, almost everyone owns this customizable, medium-sized robot that they can give commands to with a wristwatch. Medabots not only have customizable parts themselves, but are also powered by a special metal that exists in their backs that functions kind of as their brain. The Medabots themselves actually have sentience, but some are shown to have more independence in their personality than others. Our story follows a young kid named Icky. He has an intense knowledge of Medabots, but is unable to afford one of his own. He's forced to use what little money he has on an extremely outdated body, but to his luck stumbles upon a rare metal that just happens to have dropped from a scuffle implying its mysterious origins.
Thanks for the rare metal, suckers. This baby's so hot, it's smoking.
This is a common trope in these shows I like to refer to as the dark horse protagonist. It's where the protagonist of the show knows tons about the activity of the show, but is unable to participate until he stumbles upon what seems like a common or outdated sometimes play tool or partner that ends up actually being extraordinary in some way, giving them an early edge in competition. Ash's Pikachu is an exceptional starter, not only different than the one that everyone else has, but eventually becoming an exceptional Pikachu even among other of his species. Tai is the first one in the show Beyblades to get access to a Bit Beast, and is actually given a quite unique one at that. And even Deku in My Hero Academia is the only student in his class to not have a genetic quirk. Even from there, he knows everything about superheroes that there is, and is eventually given a special, unique quirk that sets him apart from everybody else. So one of the main appeals of the show is going to be watching the Medabot fights, or Robattles as they're called in this case. But not only do you get to see all of the different kinds of fighters, Medabots, and fighting arenas shown throughout the entirety of the show, but the winner of most Robattles are also given a specific Medabot part from their opponent. Even at the end of the show, they actually show you a breakdown of who lost what part to whom. Izzy's Medabot is named Medabi. Being a much older model, he's a decent bit smaller than most other Medabots. While details are vague at first about what specifically makes Medabi unique, the most clear difference is that not only is he sentient, but is able to completely ignore Izzy's orders if he does choose.
As if! I controlled him perfectly. I did nothing wrong.
Correction! You call me a piece of junk!
Huh?
Who's the piece of junk now, mister?
But I'm your meta fighter!
I don't take commands from you.
Ow! Ow!
Then again, maybe it's just defective.
Hey, come back here. I'm gonna show you a little something. Name's Metabee, baby. Metabee.
This is very similar to Ash's Pikachu in the early episodes of Pokemon. Alongside the comparisons, just as Pikachu won't go back in his Pokeball, Metabee refuses to leave his robot body when not in use, as compared to other Medabots, which actually have their medals contained inside of the Metafighter's watch while outside of battle. Later on in the show, it's revealed that Metabee actually has a very special kind of metal that allows him to tap into a special force known as the Metaforce. Yes, really. That allows him to unleash a large blast of raw energy to defeat almost any opponent in one hit. But it's difficult to harness freely and leaves him severely drained afterwards. I was actually very surprised to find out that Medabots is a really diverse cast. While Metabee and Izzy definitely come down on your hot-headed, stubborn side of the anime protagonist trope lineup, they are pretty likable overall. The Screws gang are your titular school bully archetypes, but at the same time they're still plenty funny, and having a female leader is a nice twist. Ulrika is the straight woman of the show and Izzy's best friend and overachieving photographer for the school newspaper. While characters like this can often come off as token, Ulrika was quickly one of my favorite characters, as I feel like a good straight person is one of the main things that anchors a show like this that has so much insanity to it. While the Screws are the local small-time villains of the show, the real villains come off in the form of the infamous Rubber Robo Gang. They're a lot like Team Rocket, but with more spandex. Definitely on the bumbling side, they have a similar relation to Team Rocket, as we follow a small independent cell of the gang, while the group at large is often only mentioned. On top of that, there's a mysterious vigilante known as the Phantom Renegade. His secret identity is revealed fairly early, but I like the fact that as a defining character trait, he's as intimidating as he also is clumsy.
The rare beetle metal, it's all mine. And those fools just let it slip through their fingers. Hey, what? No! No! Oh! Why me? Why?
One of my favorite gags in the show is that later on in the show, he goes into a fighting tournament under the false name of Space Metafighter X, wearing the exact same costume with a gold mask rather than a white one. When his secret identity is revealed, his gold mask cracks open, falls off, only to reveal the white mask. So, the secret identity of the guy was the other vigilante of the show. Yay? By far my favorite minor character of the show is the referee, aptly titled Mr. Referee. There's a running gag of him somehow, someway, being able to be at every single row battle. Whether that means leaping from rooftops or scuba diving in a school fountain. I mean, sure, he's a gag character, but he's a hilarious gag character.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Row Battle. Today's Row Battle has been declared a submission match. So on behalf of the World Medabot Federation, I will act as referee. Me, Mr. Referee. Metafighters, ready? Medabots, Row Battle!
The art style of the show did take me a bit getting used to. At times it can feel a bit washed out in its color palette, but I got used to it pretty quick. I think it's just the lack of thicker line work that throws me off. Judging by the time that this came out, though, they very easily could have had this be another experimental 3D digital animation project, but having it be hand-drawn helps it hold up over time significantly better. Let's just say that there's a reason I'm singing the praises of Medabots rather than a show like Reboot. Reboot. That's gonna be a fun one to write. Action is definitely the name of the game in a show like this, and luckily it's where the show shines best. I mean that both in literal action, like row battles, but also in fast editing, dynamic camera angles, and fantastic music and sound design. These attributes need that higher level of polish and uniqueness to keep the show interesting long term. Even with episodes where Metabee is just using the standard parts, they have come up with a lot of creative ways to make every fight feel different than the last one. Medabots is incredibly bingeable, high-octane entertainment. I'm an incredibly big fan of this sports anime genre already, but it is a big shame that Medabots isn't often brought up in the same conversations with the other heavy hitters. I watched a couple episodes of the show just to get ready for this review, and not only did I have memories coming back of watching the show as a kid, but I'm not gonna lie, I may find myself binging all 91 episodes of the show myself, just because I want to. And I really can't think of a bigger recommendation to the show than that.